This is going to go through a transitional motion from your hands and knees to a side sitting position. Really good to engage the lateral aspect of your hip, as well as work on some transitional trunk control and stability. So I'm going to show it facing you and facing away so you get a good idea of what I'm doing. So the big thing here is that one of the initial positions that I give to patients to try and stretch the lateral aspect of their hip is in this side sit position, where I try and get a line from my foot, my knee to my foot. My hand is lined up with the outside of my hips, and I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I take this hand that's off the ground, and I start to reach in a little bit of an oblique direction, kind of forward and a little bit into this rotation to the left. And my goal is really to get weight on this bottom knee. So as I bring my chest and even my pelvis forward, as I put weight towards this knee, I get a stretch in the back of my hip. So the first position that I'm given is just as they reach, they press this knee and they actually try and lightly de-weight that butt off the ground. So when they get the stretch, they're also activating the muscle in that stretch and then come back out of it. Now this feeds into the transitional motion that I'm going to go through next. So from here, I come around, and for a little bit of added stability, I'll take this hand and I'll put it on the ground. So as I reach forward, I get myself to where I feel that same stretch. Now I'm going to use my bottom knee pressing into the ground. This back leg can help a little bit, but ideally I want all the work to come from the bottom knee. I'm going to press and slowly come around into this hands and knees position. And then the reverse, right? So the reverse, I'm going to keep my hand here. I'm going to shift my weight towards my left hand, and I'm going to pick this leg up. Now as I turn, ideally I don't want to have a lot of motion in my lower back where I'm kind of cramping or arching. So I do want to try and keep as flat of a back as I can. As I slowly start to transition, kind of moving my hips and my trunk at the same time. I can leave this hand on the mat for a little bit of added stability because I want to reach this leg in the air back so that I'm dropping into that same stretch. And then once I get to that stretch, I can come back and release, right? Going back across, hand comes around. As I come around, my goal is to get weight on this bottom knee, so I'm reaching a little bit over and forward. This hand's here for a little bit of added balance. This top leg hopefully is not doing a whole lot. I'm going to press into my bottom knee. I can even lift this leg off the ground as I come up and around into this quadruped position. Once again, going back, I shift my weight towards the side I'm going to. I start to lift my knee, and you see I try to rotate my trunk with this hip if I can. Nice and slow, I'm reaching this leg back as I drop into that same stretch of my hip. Notice I really control the descent into that position, right? So, just facing towards you. I'll do the right side, so I'm not doing one side at a time. Same thing, I shift to the right, I start to lift, I reach this leg in the air back. I can keep this arm here for a little bit of balance as I come down into that stretch and come back out of it. Now a harder version would be to take this hand away, right? So as I come around, rather than putting this on the ground, I may just turn my trunk and reach, and then this bottom leg lift. And now it's a little bit more of a unilateral side plank without this helping me as I come around into the hands and knees position. Same thing going back. So this would be the next harder phase would be to shift, lift this leg, and now lifting this arm, I can truly keep my trunk and my pelvis in line. I still want to make sure I'm not opening too much because I want to get a stretch in this bottom leg. So I do kind of reach my leg and keep my chest turned so I can get that stretch, and I feel that tension. I'm not going to feel that if I'm all the way out here, sitting down. So I do want to make sure I keep a little bit of my pelvis turned as I come down so I can feel that stretch, and I'm lowering into it slowly.